Hi there. After this lesson, you should be able to describe a linear function as increasing, decreasing, or constant and identify the domain and range. Take a look at these three graphs. They all look a bit different. We can describe these differences fairly easy. All you have to do is read the graph. When we read a graph, we read it from left to right, just like your favorite book. If the graph is going up from left to right, we call this increasing. If the graph is going down from left to right, then we say it's decreasing. If the graph is flat or not going up or down, we call this constant. It is important to be specific about where on the graph each of these is happening. The way we can do this is by stating the domain and range for each graph. Remember, the domain is the set of all x values. You can ask yourself, what x values will my graph pass through? Let's take away the y-axis for just a second so we can see. So, if we take a look at the first graph, there's an arrow pointing leftwards towards the negatives, and then it seems to travel to the right, stopping at 10 on the x-axis. This means the graph will continue forever to the left towards negative infinity and goes all the way to 10. I use a bracket here because the graph includes 10. I know it includes 10 because the circle is a solid circle. We use the parentheses with negative infinity because you will never actually reach negative infinity. It does not include it. Okay, what about the range? What y values will my graph pass through? Focusing on the y-axis now, it seems that the graph is pointing downwards towards negative infinity and stops at 4. We can write this as negative infinity, 4, with a bracket to show that 4 is included. Let's take a look at the next graph. We will focus first on the domain. It appears to start at 0 and go on forever towards infinity. We will write this as 0, infinity. The 0 will get parentheses this time because an open circle tells us that the value is not included. Let's take a look at the range, or the y values. We see that it starts at 8 and continues downward forever, so our range is negative infinity, 8. Lastly, our graph that is constant points towards the left and the right. So my domain is negative infinity to positive infinity. When finding the range, we see that the graph goes neither up nor down. It simply stays at 2 the entire time. Therefore, the range is 2. We use brackets to show that the range includes the number 2. Okay, it's your turn. Describe each graph as increasing, decreasing, or constant. Then match it with the correct domain and range. All right, since the first graph is pointing downwards, we say that it is decreasing. There are arrows on either side, which tells us that the domain and range are both negative infinity to infinity. The second graph goes neither up nor down, so it is constant. My domain is 0 to infinity, where 0 is not included, so I needed the 1 with the parentheses. And my range is simply 6. The last graph is pointing upward, so it is increasing. The domain is negative infinity to 8. And since 8 is included, we use the bracket. The range is negative infinity to 4, and same thing. It is included, so we use a bracket. Great job!